Welcome back to my channel. Today, I'm going to be doing another episode or like part in this series, which is different categories of my makeup collection. So in this series, I've been taking you guys through each category in my makeup collection and talking you through every single product that I own in that category. Today is probably the final installment, at least for now. I'm going to, sorry, my hair needs a bit of a brush actually. Let's do that now. But yeah, pretty much I'm going to be talking about every single highlighter that I own today. I hope you like my hairbrush. It's Ariel from The Little Mermaid. She's my favorite Disney princess. But yeah, I'm going to talk about every single highlighter that I own in my entire collection today and give you a little rundown about each one. If you want to see other categories in this kind of series, I just did one on my blushes and I also did another one on every single bronzer that I own. I also did one about like face-based products, so it's like foundations, concealers, primers, and setting sprays and powders. So all of those things, I just chucked it all into one video. But yeah, today's going to be highlighters because they get their own video. I won't be doing one on palettes just because my palettes haven't really changed much since I last did one of these videos on palettes. And I will be doing a video soon showing you in each of my makeup drawers. And I feel like it'll be more satisfying to see an overall spread of all my palettes all at once because not that much has changed anyway. So you'll get a little overview, see like 2 extra palettes, and that'll be like the vibe, you know? Whereas with my base products, typically I use them up and then purchase new base products. So they kind of want a more frequent rotation. Now, before we get started, I just want to touch up my lip. My lip color that I'm wearing today is from KKW Beauty, and it is in the shade Nude 2.5. My lip liner is 1.5, and this is really matte. Like, she's matte. I'm really into overlining my lips recently. Okay, we've rambled on for long enough. Let's get this started. I'm going to not show any samples as well, but I'll just talk about them very briefly. I'm not going to show them. Proceeds to show them. I have some little MAC samples, strobe creams, things like strobe cream. Yeah, just little things that I'm testing out from MAC. I just get little MAC sample pots sometimes and try out some new MAC stuff. So it's not really that new, but I don't really have a strobe cream in my collection, but I do use strobe cream sometimes, and typically it's me trying MAC's strobe cream when they release it in different shades. So MAC does this thing where sometimes they release strobe cream in like, it's like pink light or peach light, and it's pretty much like different shade variations on the original strobe cream. Different shade variations of the original strobe cream. I don't know why that was such a tongue twister for me, but yeah, I like to try them out and see if I like the new undertones and stuff. Something that is similar that I do have in my collection, however, is the Lacura Skin Science Caviar Illuminator. Now, I had this in the shade Bronze Glow, but when I was purchasing this is an Aldi brand, by the way. When I was purchasing this, they did have some other shades, but I felt like Bronze Glow would probably suit my skin tone and my highlighter undertone preferences the most. It's supposed to have a shimmering effect, lightweight, flawless finish, anti-aging for all skin types, 30 mils of product in here, so it's kind of a bit. I'll just do a little pump on the back of my hand so you can see the vibe. So it's kind of like a product like that, and it just blends out really easily. It almost has like it has the same scent as the rest of the Lacura Skin Science caviar stuff that I have. I have the foundation and the matching face creams. So those are all really nice. This kind of gives a similar vibe to like what I imagine like a really glowy primer would have. See how it gives a little bit of, not coverage, but like it gives a little, it's like a glowy base. It's very, I feel like the first pump came out a little thicker because it's dried in the nozzle, but it's kind of got the same texture, like it's a bit of a whipped, wet texture, so it's a little bit like strobe cream in that sense. This one is a little bit more of a golden tone because obviously mine is in the shade Bronze Glow, so it's a little bit like bronzier. It's not that bronzed though, it's more like a champagne highlight kind of tone. It doesn't have much of a sheen through it, and honestly you could probably wear this as just like a really dewy primer, and that's probably how I'll get the most use out of it, just because this isn't really that reflective as a highlighter, but it's a really nice skin product, and you could probably get a bit of coverage out of this. See how it kind of has just evened and blurred that area of my hand? It just adds a little something to the skin. Maybe this is, okay, honestly, I haven't tried out the, what's that brand called? It's like where they have the Charlotte Tilbury, like, flawless filter, primary, basey kind of thing. It smells so good. I haven't tried it before, but this is how I imagine it would be like. Yeah, that's the vibe. Okay, next I have this highlighter. This is another liquid highlighter, but this has more of a sheen, whereas this is more of just like a glow. It doesn't really have like a shimmer through it. This has like a little shimmerness through it. This is High Beam from Benefit, and this is a cult classic. This has been around for years and years and years. I actually watched Karen Gillian's Vogue video today, and she uses this, and I was like, same. I'm just like Amy Pond. Anyway, I really like the packaging because it's got this like little detailed lid, and I like how it's like, usually I don't like these nail polish style bottles for face products, but because of the way this applies, kind of it's got a little bit more thickness to it than like the typical blushes from Benefits. I don't feel like it's like too cross contamination vibes. It just adds a little pearlescent glow to the skin. It's really gorgeous. You can definitely see what it's like. Yeah, it just has like a pearlescent sheen. It dries down, not completely tight on the skin. It's not like drying on the skin or anything. It just dries down to be a comfortable sheen. Really nice on the skin, just adds a glow. Very natural. You can really blend it and melt it into the skin so it just looks like a bit of a glow from within. Really nice. Definitely rate that one. The next one that I have to show you guys is from Essence. And honestly, this is my project pan. I'm hoping to use this one up. This is the Essence Light Up Your Face Luminizer palette. This is really nice, but the highlights in here are a little bit more natural than I would typically prefer. These two on the two ends provide more of a sheen. Now, usually I don't like to swatch in videos, but because I just suck at swatching, honestly. But we're gonna swatch now because, oh well. Is it even? No, it's, you can't even see. Yeah, this one, it's like more of like a setting powder for me. I feel like this would be nice as a brightening under eye setting powder. And then this one, it's got a little bit of sheen to it, but it's not like highlighter. The middle one is the one that highlights the most. But again, it's not like an incredibly glowy highlighter. Like, it has a little bit of a sheen to it, but it's not like some of the other highlighters that are a bit more intense that I'll show you later. So, you know, as much as it's an okay palette, this isn't like an amazing palette. You know, if you're really on a budget, I still think that there are better highlighters at the drugstore. You may as well get, like, I've had previously a Maybelline Master Chrome highlight that was so affordable and really, really pigmented. This is really nice and does have like shimmer. If you're looking for more of a natural highlight, this is really nice. I imagine that this is as close as you're going to get at the drugstore to the kind of natural glow that you can kind of get from an Hourglass highlighter. However, it's not my personal vibe. At this kind of a price point, I prefer something with a little bit more oomph that gives a bit more glow to the face. The highlighter that I'm wearing today, I'd love to talk about with you guys, and it is called the Medium Highlighter from KKW Beauty. So it just looks like this, and it came in a little kit. I got the medium highlighting and contouring kit, so this is the highlighter, this is the matching contour. I'm wearing the contour and highlight sticks today, and if you'd like to see the face that I'm wearing right now, I did a whole little video getting ready with me with this little KKW contour set. So on one side it has the medium 1 highlight, which is kind of like a matte cream highlight. It doesn't have any shimmer to it. It just is a brightening kind of effect. And then the other side is the medium 2 highlight. And this side is the shimmery one. Both of these are really gorgeous, melt really nicely and seamlessly into the skin. Really good to melt in with your fingers as well for more of a seamless finish. But even unblended, they just, I don't know, there's a really nice texture to them. I'm really sad. The one thing that I don't like about this product is look how small the amount of product is. There is less than 1 gram of product on each side of this dual-ended stick, which is really a bit of a bummer because it's so gorgeous. That's my one complaint, is I wish there was more product in here because the price point doesn't really justify the small amount of product you get in here. It's really gorgeous, and I wish this was larger. It's like actually very, very nice, and I'm glad I have this. I just wish there was more. It's very nice, honestly. I'm really excited to highlight my face with this. I only tried it for the first time today, and I'm really excited to get into that more. The next highlighter that I wanted to show you guys is one that I've actually had for a while, and this is from Becca Cosmetics RIP, and this is the shade Ocean Glow. This was gifted to me, I believe, last year. It was 2 years ago now. Oh my goodness, time flies. This was gifted to me by one of my friends from Cheer. Jess gave this to me for my birthday. I think she gave this to me for my 21st. And Ocean Glow is so pretty. I can't remember the 3 shades that are in here, but I know that the little surfboard that says Becca on it is supposed to be, what's the shade called? It's like the Bondi one. I have the full-size bronzer version. It's the shade Bronzed Bondi. So it's this bronzer. Let me open it up. It's this bronzer as a surfboard. And then there's two other shades, which are two other highlighter shades. And then you just kind of whisk your brush around in the whole thing and kind of combine the colors to give a really nice bronzy kind of highlight. Honestly, I'm not someone that typically goes for like a more white based highlight, not white based, but like an icier toned highlight, just because I have warm undertones in my skin, and so I prefer a more bronzy or like champagne undertone. I just feel like it works better with the warm tones of my skin. But because this has the little surfboard in it and this pinky, like rose goldy toned highlight, combining all of these three together is actually really gorgeous. It looks a little dark on the hand right now, but when I apply it more, like blended with a brush, it looks really gorgeous. Sorry, my swatches are not my strength, but as you can see, it just is a bronzy highlight and it's very, very stunning. Usually I don't pick up as much of the bronzer when I do a like swirl around with the brush. So usually it doesn't look too dark on my cheek, and it's actually very wearable. It's not too dark for my skin tone. It's very easy to wear. A really beautiful highlight, and comes in a cute little silver version of the Yyhbbhfghj UFO. This was a really nice gift. If you're watching this, I love this and I actually use it all the time. It's really stunning, and I've had it for a while and you can still see the cute embossing. When I first got this, I was really hesitant to use it because it's got this cute little embossing, so I saved it for a while. Someone in the comments of my video when I first got this was like, just use it. I did just use it, and it's actually really gorgeous. I mean, obviously I was going to use it anyway. I was just like, sometimes I like to hold on to products for a while and just stare at them for a good 6 months before I get into them. I know that person was trying to be salty, but like, it's in my collection. I could do what I want with it. You know what I mean? Okay, pretend I was like keeping this and not even using it. Like, I could just not use it. It's my call. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. I just thought it was odd. They were like, just use it. Like, what if I didn't? What if I didn't even use it and just looked at it? Like, that's my product. I could do whatever I wanted. I don't know. I just thought it was a funny comment to make. Okay, next I want to talk about the Betty Luminizer. This is from the Balm, and I have so many fond memories using the Mary Luminizer. It was probably one of the first highlighters I used when I was growing up, and it's such a cult classic. And to this day, I have a mini size in like a little palette. The Mary Luminizer is so good, but I feel like this suits my skin tone better. This is the Bonnie Luminizer, and she's a little bit more champagne gold. Let me swatch her down here. Wow, these are all coming out really dark on my skin tone, even though these are like highlighters that I use very comfortably. Is this like the worst swatch ever? No, look, you can't even get the vibe. You know what the Mary Luminizer looks like. This is her more golden cousin. There's no shade description on this, but yeah, it just looks like this. It's a golden champagne highlighter in that famous Luminizer formula. Totally recommend it. Really gorgeous, really good mirror. There is so much product in here. I remember with my original Mary Luminizer, it took me so long to use that up. And again, this has 9 grams of highlight in there. That's a lot of highlight. Okay, let's get into some really, really cult classic ones. Well, cult classic to me because I have had these for years and they're my holy grails. So first of all, my holy grail highlight of all time is Fuego from Dose of Colors. So Dose of Colors did this really gorgeous collaboration with Desi and Katie, who are some YouTubers here on YouTube. I mean, where else would they be YouTubers? Anyway, there's some YouTubers that I'm obsessed with. I just love their vibes. They're just two besties, and I really like watching their videos and consuming their social media type content. Love their vibes. Anyway, this is a highlighter they came out with in collaboration with Dose of Colors, and everything they came out with in this Dose of Colors collaboration is my favorite. They had a like eyeshadow palette. They had 2 eyeshadow palettes. They had all these highlighters. My favorite highlighter that they came out with out of all of these products is Fuego because it is the perfect golden champagne highlight. It is really beautiful. The Dose of Colors formula of highlight on the skin is very smoothing, and it just looks like such a beautiful wet finish without exaggerating any texture on the skin. Literally my favorite highlighter ever. And then this one is a Mirame. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. This is Mirame, and this is a slightly darker version of Fuego. So it's from the same collection, except Mirame is a little bit more pinky rose gold vibes, whereas Fuego is a little bit lighter and has more of a champagne gold. So this one's a little bit darker, and I was hesitant. I was worried that this wouldn't work on my skin tone, but after trying it out, definitely can wear this on my skin tone. It is wearable. It's gorgeous, and yeah, this is Mirame. She's really gorgeous. You can see the pinky tones in there. Just absolutely stunning. Really love this one. You can't see it on camera, but there's quite a dip in this one, which makes you go, oh, no, better slow down on using that because this is no longer available. I try and use up my highlighters and keep them rolling and like using them up and then moving on to the next one. But when it comes to these Dose of Colors ones, because this was a limited collection, I use them, but I'm a bit when I use them because they don't make these anymore. So I kind of hold on to those. Whereas like with, for example, these the body luminizer, for example, this is still something that's available. So if I pan this, I go through the whole thing, it's okay because I can always buy a new one. Okay, some more Dose of Colors collaboration highlights. Here's another Fuego, but this one is actually empty. And you might be like, why do you still keep this when it's empty? Because the packaging is so shiny and so it sits on my stack. I have a stack of these on my desk and I stare at them and I'm like, my beautiful shiny Dose of Colors babies. I love them. Mwah. Okay, so this is the last Dose of Colors highlight that I have to share with you guys today. And this one is from their second collaboration. So as you can see, this is the first collaboration. It's kind of like a lighter shimmery packaging. I love the packaging on these. Stunning, stunning. But see, the second packaging, I don't like it as much, to be honest. I prefer the original one, but it's still gorgeous. It's a little bit of a darker shimmer. Does that make sense? It's very noticeable in real life, and I feel like you can definitely see it on camera too. But this is the shade Chasing the Sun. It's a slightly deeper gold than Fuego, if that makes sense. So there's Chasing the Sun. And it was inspired by Desi and Katie. When they take their pictures for Instagram, they felt like they were always chasing the sun because they were always chasing that golden hour and trying to get their like swatch pics in at the perfect time. So they felt like they were chasing the sun. Or like when they're taking their makeup selfies for their Instagrams, they were always chasing the sun and trying to catch that golden hour. And so this is kind of inspired or named after that because this highlighter is supposed to capture that golden hour when they're chasing the sun. So I'll show you a comparison between Fuego and Chasing the Sun. You can see similar vibes. Chasing the Sun's just a little bit darker. This one's a little bit brighter. Fuego is definitely my favorite, but Chasing the Sun is definitely a very gorgeous toned highlighter. And all of these are really gorgeous on the skin, the way they look so smooth on the skin and don't emphasize any texture. My face looks so smooth when I use these. Favorites for a reason. I like literally can't rave about them enough because they're gorgeous, they're flawless, and I'm obsessed with them. Wait, let me put my... I do this thing, I don't even know why because it doesn't even matter. But I like to put the little plastics back over everything because I'm bonkers. Not everything has a plastic as well. Like, what's the logic? There is absolutely none, honestly. Let me make the pile look neat again. Put my Fuegos here. Put my Mirame on top. All of my favorites, these little Desi Katie Dose of Colors collaborations, get prime position on the, like, center of my vanity setup. Everything else lives in the drawer, but those are special to me, so I like to look at those all the time. And it also means that I don't reach for them too much because I'm looking at them more often and they're kind of separate from where I'm reaching into. It kind of gives a little bit of separation so I'm not like constantly using them and using them up and panning them because that would be a tragedy. I really don't want to pan those. I'm a bit like, I want to wear those my wedding day someday, you know what I mean? Okay, next I want to talk about this one from Soul Body. I recently just panned my other Soul Body highlighter. So this is my last highlighter that I have in my collection from Colourpop. This is giant. This is from Soul Body, which is the sister brand from Colourpop, or like, it's like a sub brand that Colourpop has come out with. And this is in the shade Platinum. This is a beautiful highlight. I'm about to really get it, like dig into this because I just finished my other Colourpop highlighter. So now that I've used that up, we're moving on to this one. It has that Soul Body scent that's a little bit coconut, tropical, a little bit of that tanning kind of scent. It's really gorgeous. A little, yeah, I smell the fake tan in here. I smell the coconut, but it's in a good way. I've been complimented many times when I was wearing my previous Colourpop highlighter because I know that the people around me could smell the highlighter that was on my chest and it was like that like Colourpop Soul Body scent. Platinum is a really gorgeous shade. It's very, very glowy. Like you can really see the luminosity and the sheen on the skin when you wear this one. It is kind of an icier highlight for me because typically, as you can tell, I reach for more of a champagne or gold kind of tone. But even though it's icy, you can see it has that icy golden reflect through it, which makes it a little bit more appropriate for my skin tone and definitely doesn't pull too cool toned on me. I don't like when it looks too icy because I don't want my cheeks to look frosty. I want them to look wet, glowy, and golden, if that makes sense. So this actually isn't too icy in my opinion. Although if you build it up, you can make it icier. When you blend it out better, you can make it look more golden. So really, really do love the shimmering body powder formula from Colourpop. I'm not sure how they do it, to be honest, because it's the same formula as the Super Shock cheek products, and those need to be sealed in those little pots really tightly, and this is just a, like, it just is like a little component like that. Like, that's not airtight, so I don't really know how this stays fresh, but suits me. It's really gorgeous. This one has 10 grams in here, so it's still a lot of product to work through. It's really affordable as well. Like, definitely would recommend the Colourpop highlighters. They're really worth bang for buck. I have 2 Fenty Beauty highlighters that I'd like to talk about today. Well, they're the only ones I have in my collection, so obviously I'm going to talk about them. So this one is Trophy Wife, and this is a true gold. This is an absolutely gorgeous actual gold highlighter. It just looks like this, and it is just a bright gold. It's stunning. I was a little hesitant at first, thinking that this would be too much, but honestly, this looks really gorgeous on the skin, and I just like to pop that on the cheek, and it just makes everything just like a really beautiful honey yellow gold. Really obsessed with Trophy Wife. And then the other one that I have, also I feel like Trophy Wife is like a Fenty Beauty staple. Like this with a red lip, beautiful. Really lucky vibes. It's gold. You can't go wrong with gold. The other one that I have is Metal Moon, which I was hesitant about at first because, again, as I mentioned, I'm not into an icier highlight. These both have a really good mirror, by the way, and they're both in the Kilowatt Freestyle Highlighter formula. But this Metal Moon shade, it doesn't come out on the cheek as white. This looks really beautiful, even on the darkest of skin tones, because it doesn't actually come off as like a streak of white on the skin. It just comes off as the undertone of the sheen. Now, that's not going to make any sense, and my swatch is probably not going to come out on camera. Yeah, you can kind of see that. See how there's just that little glow on the skin where I've put the swatch? It just gives a little like glisten and a little like, I want to say like a golden pearlescence to the skin. I feel like that's the most accurate thing I'm going to ever say about it. It's a golden pearlescence because it doesn't actually have a cool undertone too much, although this could work with like a cool tone look if you wanted to. This has a gold reflect to it. I'm not sure if it's going to come out on camera, but there's like kind of like a goldenness to it. And so on the skin, it doesn't come off as like too cool or too icy because it does have that golden reflect through it. It's actually really gorgeous and works on like literally every skin tone. Really, really surprisingly versatile. Took me ages to purchase this because I was so hesitant because it looks white in the pan and that's not my style, but it's actually just very, very subtle. When you sheer it out, it just adds like a sheen of glow and it's very, very pretty. Next I have some highlighters that I'd like to talk about from MAC. First of all, I have the Soft and Gentle Mineralized Skin Finish. This is actually a really beautiful highlighter. It took me ages to get into this because I felt like it was too sheer, but it does add a really gorgeous finish to the skin. I haven't used it a lot, so I don't want to talk about it too much. I would probably like to talk about it more once I've worked this little bump down to be a little more flat and I am a bit more familiar with the product. But from my experience with it so far, it is actually really gorgeous, and this tone is really, I don't want to say unique because it's not like there's not a single highlighter out there with a similar tone, but like it just works very nicely on the skin. There's a something about the tone melts into the skin really nicely, and it just looks like skin but sheen, if that makes sense. I'm really into this. Definitely love Soft and Gentle, and I can see why it's a cult favorite. And then this is a newer one to my collection. This is Oh Darling. Now, I only purchased this after I purchased this as a replacement to my Whisper of Guilt. So I had Whisper of Guilt from MAC previously, also in the same formula. I love this Extra Dimension Skin Finish. This is the more pigmented formula from MAC, whereas this one is the more like natural baked highlight vibe. This is more like there is a highlighter on your cheek and it is intense. That's the vibe from this one. So natural, intense, but you can build this up to be a little bit more intense, and you can definitely sheer this one out to be a little bit more of a natural effect. But yeah, this is a very similar tone to Whisper of Guilt. It's just like a little bit more champagne, I want to say, whereas Whisper of Guilt, I feel like it's just a slight tad more golden, which makes sense. Whisper of Guilt, like gilded gold vibes, you know. A really beautiful highlight. I was actually recommended this by my best friend Gabby. Thanks, Gabby, for the recommendation. She's beautiful. I think I've actually used this one time, but I'm hesitant to use it because look at the beautiful like embossing. I don't know. Sometimes, like I mentioned, it takes me about like 6 months to just stare at a product before I can like commit to like panning it, because once I do start panning a product, well, you've seen my project pan, I just eat through that product. So yeah, it takes me a bit to like ruin the embossing because it's really gorgeous. I really appreciate a nice embossing on the pan, and once I start destroying it, the whole product is like, I make a mess. Okay, I have some final highlights. I believe this is the last couple of highlights that I have to talk about today. Um, these are all from Becca, and these are pretty much me hoarding some Becca products because they were going out of business. So Becca, as you know, is an Australian company that was bought up by, I believe, Estee Lauder, and then they went out of business last year. And so since they were going out of business and discontinuing all their products, I wanted to pick up some stuff. Now, Becca, you can still buy their highlighter formula in only one shade from Smashbox, because Smashbox is another brand owned by Estee Lauder, and Estee Lauder gave Becca's old formula to Smashbox to sell instead. So now Smashbox sells Champagne Pop, but I wanted to pick up some highlighters just in case, because at the time I was not sure if they were going to continue using this formula under another brand name or if they were just going to discontinue the formula like completely. So I have three new Becca highlighters that are just shoved at the back of my drawer because they're gorgeous and I didn't want to miss out on them. So first of all, I have Pearl. Now I bought Pearl even though it's like a lighter shade for me, like it's on that icier shade where I'm a little bit more hesitant. I can never tell which side. Oh, that is the right side. But when you don't layer Pearl too intensely and you kind of do it a little bit more sheer, this kind of serves a similar purpose to what I use Metal Moon from Fenty Beauty for. So these two kind of have a similar kind of role in my makeup collection, where they just kind of are a lighter highlight, but they have a beautiful sheen to them and just smoothed over the skin very lightly, just give a beautiful glow. So that's what I like from Pearl from Becca. I was really fussy when I was choosing which Becca highlights to like purchase when they were closing down. Part of me wanted to just go crazy and buy all of them, but I just chose the ones that I felt like were very versatile and would work best in my collection. I hope that makes sense. This one is Opal, and out of all the highlights other than Champagne Pop, I knew that I wanted to get one that would melt really nicely into my skin, and Opal does that. Opal is so stunning because it kind of just looks like there isn't a highlighter on your, this is for my skin tone. I'm just gonna like preface with that. Opal on my skin tone looks like it isn't a highlight layer. I'm not wearing a golden highlight on my skin. I'm not wearing a champagne. I'm not wearing, even like a pearlescent tone. I'm just wearing glow. It's like it perfectly matches my skin tone. And so because it is my skin tone, it just looks as though there is only just the glow coming through. I really hope that makes sense. It looks very uniquely perfect on my skin tone because it matches my skin tone so perfectly. So I'm a big fan of Opal. It took me a while to discern between Opal and another shade that I've now forgotten. I was choosing between a couple of shades. I think maybe Moonstone in store. I was checking between Opal and Moonstone, but Opal just melts so seamlessly into my skin that I had to go with Opal, and I just couldn't leave it behind in the end. So I did pick up Opal as well. And then the last one, of course, I have an extra version of Champagne Pop. I have panned an entire split pan of Champagne Pop previously. I had it as a split pan where one half was Champagne Pop and the other half was Flower Child, which is a blush from Colourpop, which is a blush from Becca, but I decided to get Champagne Pop as an individual highlight just for in future, because I know it's a tried and true, it's a flawless formula, it's a flawless shade, it works on so many skin tones. When I shop for highlighters, I typically go for that champagne gold type of shade because not only does it work for me, but it is very versatile and it works for like literally everyone. So if I'm doing a friend's makeup, if I'm doing a makeup look that's a little bit cooler toned or warmer toned or outside of my comfort zone or a little bit crazy, this kind of tone, it's not really looking like anything right now, but this Champagne Pop kind of style or like genre of highlighter, it just works. And so I just thought I better pick up an extra Champagne Pop because it's such a cult classic and I can't live without it. Luckily, if I ever pan this, which I probably will, I can always repurchase it because Smashbox now makes this. But I wasn't sad to have a backup. I did purchase these on sale, and it's good to have a backup of your faves because this is a product that I really churn through. I have noticed recently that I eat through highlighter really quickly. I think that's all the highlighters that I have in my drawer. I do have one more highlighter on my desk smiling at me, and I'll show you guys. It's my sister's Champagne Pop. She gave it to me because it's all smashed. I probably gave this to her years ago, but pretty much it's another Champagne Pop that's all smashed up. She was carrying this around in her makeup bag for ages, and it kept breaking. Every time I repressed it for her, it would break again, and it was just making a mess in her makeup bag. And I said, Thursa, do you want to just go and use your other highlighters instead, and I'll take your Champagne Pop and I'll just pan it because it's pretty easy for me to pan a highlight. And she was like, yeah, please use it up. It's making a mess in my life and I'd rather use another highlighter. And I was like, no problem. So I took the highlighter and I'm panning the little remaining bits and bobs you can see down there. Honestly, this will probably be used up this weekend. Like if this survives past the next 24 hours, I'll be surprised because I'm expecting to do about 4 girls' makeup in the next 24 hours, and I'm going to be highlighting not only faces but chests, legs, arms, everything. I'm going to be like doing some full glam on some girlies, and I expect this to be absolutely eaten up by the looks that I'm about to do. Actually, I do have one more highlighter that I almost forgot, and I pushed it to the very back of my drawer so that I would forget it on purpose. This is a highlight that I've been reaching for way too much. So I put it at the back of the drawer to stop myself from using it because I don't want to use it up quite yet and I don't want to pan it. I want to start using, you know, the ColourPop one or that Essence like trio. This is a really gorgeous highlight that is new to my collection. It's from Rem Beauty. And this is actually also the highlighter that my sister's using right now. Now that she's retired her Champagne Pop and given that to me down there, she's also using Miss Mercury, the highlighter topper from Rem Beauty. It looks like this, as you can tell. Mine's starting to get a bit loved, you know, the embossing is starting to wear through, but it's just a perfect highlighter, and I will swatch this. Even though I'm awful at swatches, I hope it comes up. No, you can't see anything. It's because also I do these videos on live stream, and so it's just really hard to like get them to show up on the live stream because the camera is not like meant for this. It's a very glowy, wet looking highlight. Definitely in my top highlights that I own at the moment. It's a very good shade match for so many skin tones. I feel like out of all of the Rem Beauty highlighter topper shades, Miss Mercury is like the one that everyone's going for. It's like the Champagne Pop of Rem Beauty, and I can definitely see why, because the tone of it is really good and versatile. You can sheer it out, you can build it up. It works with so many skin tones. It's not chunky, it's not glittery. By the way, none of the highlights that I showed you guys today are like chunky or glittery in any way, because I'm very fussy when it comes to highlights, that they have to be very smooth and just a sheen on the face. So all of the highlights that I've been showing you guys have that property. Miss Mercury, of course, has that as well. Just a really good neutral champagne, I would say. The most comparable ones in my collection to this kind of tone, maybe I'd say, no, I was going to say Opal from Becca Cosmetics, but honestly, this is a little bit lighter in tone than that. You can see that it's lighter on my skin, but it's not too much to the point that it's frosty. If you'd like to see this in action, I have quite a few videos up recently where I've been using Rem Beauty products, and I use this in every single one of my Rem Beauty videos, and I keep reaching for it, so I stick it at the back of my drawer so that I don't reach for it too much, because I try and reach for the things at the front of my drawer more so that I can use them up and get them into my project pans and stuff. It's kind of the, I know that I talk about my project pan a lot, but it's kind of like the way that I use makeup. It's like my strategy when I like, I'm playing around with stuff and like experimenting with things. I try and prioritize some stuff. Those are all the highlights in my collection. I hope you enjoyed having a snoop around my highlighter drawer. If you enjoyed this video, give it a big thumbs up. 33 minutes of talking means I need to go get a drink, actually. You can subscribe if you'd like to see more content from me. I talk about makeup all the time. As you can tell, I could ramble about it for hours, and I will on my channel, so subscribe if you'd like to see that. Like this video if you enjoyed it. You can find me everywhere, all over social media at EmilyTitch20. Leave me any comments below of anything you'd like to see from me in future. I'm always down to make content that you guys are interested in, and I'm always down to make content that I'm interested in. So if no one asked for a video and you're like, why did she post this? It's because I wanted to post it. Anyway, that's all I have to share. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll catch you next time. Bye!